Hi, this is Stephen from OwnorDisown and Bob from
Bob of all trades.
Great, yeah. So it's our first collab video. I've actually come down to where Bob lives, shops at this micro center all the time.
That's right, we are in the greater Cincinnati area at this micro center. I spend several hours a week here. Most of the content that you have seen on my channel thus far has come from this store, and I love this place and I want to share it with you folks today.
Great, yeah, they've got some good deals, some good open boxes, so let's take a look.
All right, folks, what we have here is some of the Msi Budget Solutions, right around that $900 to $1,000 budget. Personally, the sweet spot for me, and for Micro Center, you can go with the GL63. Yes, it is a very basic solution, but it does have that 6-core, 12-thread chip that everybody loves. Inside, a GTX 1050, 4GB, not too bad for $899. It is a mostly plastic build, but it is very light. And what I do love about this series is it stays plenty cool, so you will unlikely have throttling issues whatsoever with this machine. But taking it over one step to the right is the Msi Leopard. Now, this is one of my favorite chassis currently for the Coffee Lake solution. I do love the fact that it has a 1050 Ti 4GB, and for $1,000 you're getting a very robust unit, a nice metal lid, not a whole lot of RGB, beautiful keyboard, Steel Series there, and I quite like it. And not to mention, there was nothing that I could do to cook the CPU inside this machine. For $1,000, this is my go-to from MSI. Now, let's move on over to the Asus solution. Going on even an extreme budget at this point, for $650, you can go with the MX150. Now, if you're not too familiar with laptop GPUs, that is the same as a GTX 1030 in desktop format. While this might not have a lot of flash or a lot of show, it does have a nice bit of go to it. For $650, you are getting a 4-core, 8-thread U-series chip. One weird thing about Coffee Lake U chips as opposed to KB Lake is now they have doubled the cores and threads. And for $650, you're getting a 4-core, 8-thread i5. I know that sounds weird, but that is the way things are now with an MX150. And if you want to play things like Overwatch, you'll be able to do so with a few settings turned down at 1080p, 60 FPS, locked. No problem there. Now let's move on over to something a little bit more gamer-centric from Asus. Now, this particular unit here, I've had a lot of requests on the channel to cover this. I have covered the previous generation of it, but this is a gorgeous machine for $1,100. You are getting a very gamer-oriented spec build with 120 Hz Full HD panel. 1050 Ti, 4GB, maybe not the strongest GPU, but for $1,100, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck here. A gorgeous looking panel, 120 Hz, nice RGB colored keyboard, very thin laptop, and it's packing a lot of punch with that 8750H. I quite like it. As a matter of fact, for the money, this is one of my favorites from Asus here.
Yeah, the Acer Predator line. Now, this is the 17X, and I really like it. It's probably one of my favorite 17-inch gaming laptops because it was affordable. At the time, it was the only laptop available below $2,000 with a GTX 1080 in it. Now, it does have the i7-7700 HQ in it, and I suspect they will revamp this with Coffee Lake at some point, but it still remains exceptional value. Has awesome speakers, really loud, and you can open it up nice and easily. Take out the hard drive, put in another M.2 drive in there, and also the panel, 75 Hz, easily overclocked to 100 Hz, so I did like that. And of course, they also have the Triton 700, which of course is also has a GTX 1080. Now, of course, what they did here was move the keyboard here and have the cooling here. Great for cooling, touchpad here. People are on the fence on that, so we suspect going forward they will reverse this again, which perhaps might be a bit of a shame. But look out for this coming down in value when they do a refresh. And moving over to the small but boutique Razer section. Here, of course, we've got the 14-inch and the Stealth 13.3. Now, I have the new 15-inch coming in with the i7-8750H and GTX 1070 Max-Q. And that's going to be the same size as this 14-inch, so stay tuned for that review.
All right, now if you're looking for something very professional, maybe in that $800 to $1,000 range, 14-inch, I have covered this chassis before. This is the Lenovo 720S 14-inch. There's a reason why I come back to it. I love this particular chassis. Look how gorgeous this display is. Yes, it's a little more on the pricey side, but you're getting a wonderfully elegant laptop here with plenty of battery power, fast fingerprint reader, the i5 8250U, 4-core 8-thread, and the MX150. I was able to do a lot of stuff with this laptop. It never failed me, and the JBL audio is loud and punchy. Honestly, for something professional at this level, I highly recommend this machine. It's quite dear to me, and I think you would love it.
So we're at the Dell section, and what I like about the Dell section here, they got the gaming series, the G3 section here. So we've looked at the G3, Bob's looked at the G3 and the G7. I've done the G7, and I'm going to get this model of the G3 in shortly. What I like about it, it's only $800. To me, that's a steal. It's a GTX 1060, and it has the quad-core i5 8300H CPU in it, which, you know, for a gamer, that is perfectly fine. It's 4 cores, turbos up to 4 gigahertz. It's going to be sweet. 1 terabyte hard drive, and for $800, it is a no-brainer in my books. They also, of course, offer like the 13-inch Dell Xps 13, which again is very popular if you want portability. It's got a 15-watt CPU that is turbo boost pretty heavily by Dell, so it's really good. So it does perform great, and it's got Thunderbolt ports, so you can connect to an external graphics dock. So it's very good indeed. And if you can move over, they also do sell Alienware laptops. And often they have open boxes on these. Now Bob is going to be getting the Alienware 15R4 with a GTX 1060 in it for about $1,350. Now that is probably a good $300 cheaper than you can get on Dell. So it could be worthwhile checking out. This of course has the i7-8750H CPU, the Coffee Lake one, GTX 1060, and even for the boot price of $1,500, I think it's a steal. Of course, you've got the Alienware amplifier port, Thunderbolt 3 port, and of course can also configure this up to like a GTX 1080 should you wish. So that's fantastic. And of course, its bigger brother, the 17-inch, the 17R5. You can of course get this for like the i9. I'd be interested to see how that performs. How fast can you overclock it? And also with a GTX 1080. Now for $2,000, here they got the i7-8750H and the GTX 1070. And I must admit, have a history of getting hot. This would probably be the configuration I would opt for. For $2,000, you could get a high-performing machine.
Sure is gorgeous. All right, folks, the most recent machine I covered is the HP Omen, and for evidence, it is $999 for all the doubters out there. You are getting the best bang for the buck in this building. The 8750H, GTX 1060, this is not a Max Q, metal chassis, 14-inch, slim bezel, 15.6-inch panel. What can you go wrong with here for $999? It's gorgeous. And it looks like Steven from OwnorDisown is going to be getting his hands on one as well, so you should look forward to that. Great, great laptop. Now, if you are a fan of green and touch screens, last generation's HP Pavilion Power 15 is not a bad chassis. Now, should you need something just like this, they've got you covered. $799, it's often even less than that. GTX 1050 stays relatively cool, and it's very heavy and very dense. I quite like the build quality given the price. Give it a shot, look for sales. This is not a bad machine. Now, if you're an AMD fan, what you're gonna really appreciate here for $480 is finally we can get our hands on the Ryzen 5 2500U. It's really nice to be able to go into a store and kind of tire kick these things a little bit so you can really see what it's up against. And what is it up against? Well, you're more than welcome to spend $20 more on just an Intel solution with an integrated 620, or you can get this one here for $20 less and actually have a system that can play some games. Mind, you're gonna have to set some settings down a little bit, but bang for the buck right here, we finally get Ryzen. Not bad for under $500.
Yes, so to conclude, then we've decided what we think is the best bang for buck here in Micro Center, and it's, as I say, it's one that Bob's reviewed, and it's the HP Omen 15.
Absolutely. What it really came down to was the G3 versus the HP. And you can pick up the Dell G3 from Dell themselves for a little bit more than you can here. But when it comes to this system, you are not finding this anywhere at this price. Yeah. And this is kind of what Micro Center is all about. Ultimately offering you the best absolute bang for the buck. It's why I have been shopping here for 10 years. And out of this store today, this is the machine you should be looking for.
Definitely. And if you're looking at it, it's like $300 saving here. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So we'll put links in the description below of all the laptops we've covered. And please visit Micro Center to take a look. So thanks again for watching.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.